only to feel like nobody even notices? It's a really frustrating place to be. Well, today, we're going to dive into a story that just nails this exact feeling, and it comes with a super powerful cautionary lesson.
So let's just ask the big question right up front. Is putting in the hard work really the only thing you need to succeed? I mean, we're all told to just put our heads down, do the work, and good things will happen. But as we're about to find out, being the best at what you do, well, it doesn't always guarantee you'll get noticed.
And this right here is the perfect way to think about it. Seriously, think about a light bulb that's just always on. It becomes part of the scenery, right? You expect it to be there. It's only in that moment when it suddenly goes out that everybody looks up and says, "Hey, who turned out the light?" That's when you realize how much you needed it. This idea is the heart of our story today.
All right, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off in a factory. And like a lot of good stories, it starts with a mentor and his student. We've got this really dedicated young worker who's just starting out, and he's learning from a wise old craftsman who's seen it all.
Now, this was the mentor's core advice. And it sounds pretty solid, doesn't it? Basically, shut up, focus, and get so good at your job that you become completely indispensable. Make it so the place literally can't run without you. The young man, he took this advice to heart.
And look, he didn't just try this for a week or a month. He committed a full decade to this philosophy. For 10 years, he kept his head down, he mastered his craft, and he eventually got so good he took over for his own mentor. By every single measure, he was the best, most skilled worker in that entire factory.
Okay, so this is where things get complicated. Because even though he was the absolute best at his job, he ran into this huge problem. He was invisible. His hard work, his skill, it had become so consistent that everyone just took it for granted.
So you can imagine how he felt, right? Totally stuck. He goes back to find his old mentor because he's just confused and honestly pretty bummed out. He'd followed the advice to a T, so why did he feel like he was just spinning his wheels?
He lays it all out for his mentor. He says, "Listen, I know for a fact I'm the best there is. But I'm watching guys with half my talent get promotions. Their paychecks are getting bigger, and I'm stuck right where I started." He'd become that light bulb that was always on, absolutely essential, but totally overlooked.
So the mentor listens to all this, and he comes back with this really surprising, kind of risky plan. He gives the young man a way to finally prove his worth, a way to make everyone in that factory finally notice the light.
The plan was actually super simple, but also kind of bold. The mentor just asks him, "Do you really, truly believe this factory can't run without you?" And when the young man says yes, the mentor tells him, "Okay, then tomorrow don't go to work. Call in sick, say you have an emergency, I don't care. Just for one day, let them feel what it's like when you're not there."
And wow, the result? It was immediate. It was dramatic. Just like the mentor said, the whole place pretty much ground to a halt. All those little tasks that he made look so easy, they suddenly became huge, unsolvable problems for everybody else. His absence just left this massive hole that nobody else could fill. So yeah, the light went out, and you better believe everyone noticed. The very next day, when he walks back in, the manager pulls him aside immediately. It was like they were seeing his true value for the first time. He got promoted right there on the spot. The plan, it worked like a charm.
But, and this is a big but, this is where our hero makes a huge mistake. He started to think he'd found some kind of magic bullet for success. He thought this little trick wasn't just a way to get seen once, but that it was the way to stay on top.
So he got into this new habit. From that day forward, anytime he felt even a little bit slighted or a little undervalued, he'd just pull the same stunt. He'd take the next day off. He was basically using his absence as a tool, a weapon almost, to remind them all how important he was. And for a little while, it seemed like it was working.
Until it didn't. One morning, he shows up for work and he stopped at the gate. A manager comes out and tells him his services are no longer needed. He was fired. The exact same trick that got him his promotion had just cost him his job.
You can just picture it, right? He's totally floored. He rushes straight back to his mentor's house, demanding to know what went wrong. "I did exactly what you told me to do. How did I get fired?" And this right here is when the real lesson finally comes out.
And the mentor, he just looks at him calmly and says, "The problem is, you only heard the first half of the lesson. You understood that when a light goes out, people notice it. But you were in such a rush to leave that day, you didn't stick around for the second, and honestly, the more important part."
And this is it. The whole lesson, not just the first part.
The first half is about being seen, making sure your value is recognized. But the second half is about something way, way more important. A light bulb that keeps flickering on and off, one that you can't count on. Well, you don't appreciate it. You replace it.
And that's the word, isn't it? Reliability. The one thing he sacrificed to make sure he was seen was the very quality that made him valuable to begin with. He proved he was important, yeah, but at the same time, he also proved he couldn't be trusted. He couldn't be counted on.
So what's the big takeaway for all of us here? It's really all about finding that balance. You have to be good, you have to be valuable, but you also need to make sure that value is visible. But, and this is the key, using gimmicks to get noticed that destroy your consistency, that's a short-term game and you're going to lose. The real goal is to be both brilliant and dependable. That's the bedrock of any real, lasting success.
And that really just leaves us with one final question to ask ourselves. When you take a hard look at your own work, at your own career, which one are you? Are you that steady, reliable light that people know they can always count on? Or have you maybe started to flip